Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the board meeting of the Village of Westchester. Today is Tuesday, July 10th, 2012. I see we have, looks like half the police and fire department here as well. Certainly cordially invited. It is 7:01 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Booth, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Gattuso?
Present.
Mr. Novak?
Present.
Mr. Perry?
Present.
Mr. Wallace?
Present.
Mr. Stecker?
Present.
Mr. Yerkes?
Present.
Mr. Koya?
Present. We do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. Under presentations, I think we're going to switch these up a little bit. I know Chief Padlick has a citizen award as well. You want to call that one first, or you want to do the officers first? Firefighter first? Okay, we'll do the firefighter first. Okay. Are you ready? Sure. Okay. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Stefano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
and the state of Illinois
and the state of Illinois
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
as a firefighter for the Village of Westchester
as a firefighter for the Village of Westchester
under the appointment of the department
under the appointment of the department
according to the laws of the Village of Westchester
according to the laws of the Village of Westchester
to the best of my skills and abilities.
to the best of my skills and abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right. Dave Stefanik comes to the Westchester Fire Department from the Stone Park Fire Department, where he worked as a part-time firefighter medic. Dave resided in Bolingbrook until he attended Arizona State University in Phoenix, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics in 2006, and he currently resides back in Oak Brook. He graduated from Loyola University Medical Center's paramedic program in 2010, completing half of his required paramedic ride time as a student with the Westchester Fire Department under the direction of our firefighter paramedic Paul Groom. Since then, Dave has worked as a paramedic with ACT Paramedic Company out of Brookfield. As an example of his dedication in becoming a fireman, David sent himself through the Romeoville Fire Academy, where he graduated in 2011. David's parents, Eugene, Arlene, and his sister Sandy, and some other guests are here to see David sworn in as our newest firefighter paramedic recruit. And Dave tells me he chose this career because he enjoys helping people and working in a field where he faces new challenges every day. So let's give him a good round of applause and welcome Dave. Welcome aboard. Dave's family, come on up for some pictures.
And I know Trustee Perry would love to have you on the Economic Development Board.
Absolutely.
To help out with some economics
Sure.
as well. So, congratulations. You're entering a fine field and a fine department. you say. Miss April, do you, civilian or the police officers? What would you? Okay.
I have never been so happy than to present these awards tonight. Back in my early days of being a police officer, I heard about the gypsy burglars. And in particular, a name that was thrown out there was Eli. And when I became chief and made some changes in the department, I told the head of the investigation unit, Sergeant Lamanna, that in his career, this administration was going to catch the gypsy burglars. And we did. And I'd like to read the following. On the morning of June 25, 2012, a resident observed a stranger's van stop at his elderly neighbor's home and watched as the occupants exited the vehicle and began interacting with his neighbor. The resident contacted the Westchester Police Department when he saw an individual enter the home with a bucket, believing his neighbor was about to fall victim to a theft or scam. Officers from the Westchester Police Department responded to the area as 4 offenders immediately fled on foot throughout the neighborhood. Due to these officers' persistence, attention to detail, and collective efforts, all offenders were subsequently located, positively identified, and arrested. The offenders were found to have extensive criminal records involving thefts from senior citizens, using false information to enter homes, and then distracting the residents while offenders entered and ransacked their bedrooms. The resulting arrests led to numerous criminal charges, additional intelligence information, and the closure of several open burglary and theft cases involving senior citizens in Westchester and neighboring communities. And I'd like to call forward the following officers: Lieutenant Steve Stabos, Lieutenant Mike O'Hagan, Sergeant Vince Lamanna, Officer Bruno Coltry, Officer Brian Lamphere, and also the following officers who are not present: Officer Phil Grallo, Officer Matt Sosnowski, and Sergeant Giuseppe Manna, and even our community service officer, Sarah Reba, was involved. Everybody's here? Stay up here a second. All this could not be made possible if it wasn't for an alert resident, and I'd like to call forward a citizen, Mark Blankenship.
Mark, on behalf of Board of Trustees, myself, the village president, I'd like to present you with this Citizens Award presented to you, Mark Blankenship, with sincere appreciation for your community awareness and commitment to the safety of your fellow citizens for your actions on June 25th, 2012. Dated today, myself and the Board of Trustees. So thank you very much for your observation and certainly watching. Being a former Westchester police officer myself, I echo Chief Padlock's sentiment as far as trying to catch the Elis and the Millers and the host of people that prey on our good nature, because generally we are a believing community. We are good people. We take people at face value, and unfortunately sometimes that is to our detriment. So again, to all the officers that are present, you've done a great job. I know the chief was involved as well, but of course she can't pat herself on the back, but we'll pat her, we'll pat her as well. This was certainly a team effort involving other communities as well, and I'm just sad that I wasn't
able to be part of the running around to try to make the apprehension. But Mark, congratulations to you and your family. You know, anything that, you know, looks suspicious or you get that feeling that it isn't right, we always want you to call 911. We don't care if we come out and it doesn't turn out to be anything. That's not anybody's fault. We want the community involved. The Community Watch program, which Rob Ferber, who's here as well, is heading that. That's the stuff that we want to get out to the public, that you're helping us. It's not us helping you. It's you helping us to help you. And we certainly are very proud of Mark and all the officers. I'll throw out a little plug. Steve Stabos is retiring at the end of this month after 33 plus years as a police officer. I remember him getting sworn in back in the day, and we congratulate him on a stellar career. So thank you all, and to the other officers that are here as well, thank you very much.
Are there any other presentations this evening that we need to do?
No.
Nothing, okay. Item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak, and in the interest of adjourning by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes unless further time is granted by the board. There's general comments on the active or general matter questions. Please step up, introduce yourself for the clerk with your address, and we'll try to entertain. Anything, anybody? Welcome, sir.
My name is Bill Mize. I live in the 2600 block of Sunnyside. My question to you, are fireworks illegal in Westchester?
Yes, they are.
Well, I would not know it by the amount that was set off on the 3rd and the 4th. In fact, I went to Divine Providence for Mass Thursday morning, and in the parking lot there was 10 crates of 12 each, skyrockets in each crate, which was set off the night before. My question is, where were the police then? They must be riding around not looking. Or we certainly would see some of this and stop some of it.
You know, when Chief Padlick gets back in, we'll have her address that for you, though.
Thank
But
you.
again, fireworks are illegal throughout the state of Illinois. I know, being the recipient of some of those calls in the earlier years, that we ran from one call to the other and did some confiscations, and in some cases there were some charges filed as well. I don't have any data regarding the last 4th or 3rd or 4th of July, but maybe Chief Padlick, and we'll certainly ask her when we get to her in the reports from different
Thank you.
people. So if you want to stick around, we'll see what we can get. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons? Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Timothy Hinsdale, a longtime resident of Westchester and a local business person. I live at 1613 Kensington, and I'm speaking as a private citizen. I have a question about a line item on your payment of bills tonight. There's a $1,000 line item for a Rose Answorth with a description of Jamaican one man. Can I get an explanation of that?
Certainly, there was an entertainment fee for one of the entrants in our parade. We do have a parade budget that comes out of our tourism fund, and we do allot a certain amount for entertainment in the parade.
Okay. Did they perform during the parade or after the parade, or?
They were performing during the parade, along the entire parade route.
Okay, so that would also account for the $550 for the little people, and also for the $600 for the bagpipe entry?
Yes, sir, it would.
Okay, so we spent a couple of $1,000. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Under 6, public hearing. I don't believe we have any. Item number 7, consent agenda. Items A through G. Anyone have any issues with anything? Wally?
Letter C, letter I. Minutes of the regular board meeting, June
CI,
5th.
June 5th. Anything else?
C1?
Or
Yeah, C,
Yeah.
number 1.
Okay.
Brian?
Item E.
E. Okay. Anything else? Okay, may I have a motion and a second to approve the record of bills, department reports. Item C2, regular COW meeting of June 5th. Item D, 50/50 sidewalk program. F, federal surplus property program, and the settlement agreement under G. Motion by?
So moved.
Tommy, second by?
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Nick? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gatuso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Terry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Pulia?
Aye. Motion carries. Item number CI. Motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. And Frank, discussion? Wally?
Yes, under board members' reports and new business, under the line that starts out with trustee Novak, it said, trustee Novak reported the electronics recycling event will be held on Saturday, June 9, 2012. Also, the Green Team has been having discussions with the Inland Bank regarding hosting a summit with local businesses to hear what they have to say. It wasn't the Green Team having a discussion, it was myself having a discussion. So if we could just correct
Okay,
that.
Just put a little amendment to those minutes.
No green guys.
Any problem with that?
Mover and the seconder agreed on that?
Yeah. Any problem with that, Nick? No? No. Okay, there's a motion, a second on the floor. By Nick and Frank. All those in favor of the amendment? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Item number E, motion and a second. That's a resolution awarding contract to Christopher Burke Engineering for design and construction engineering basin. Motion by
So moved. Second.
Nick and Tom. Brian, question?
No question. I just disagree with the process in which this was awarded, and I don't understand why we're awarding the second phase of this that is not going to be completed until 2014. It's 2 years away. It doesn't make any sense to be awarding that contract at this time.
Okay.
You need a roll call because you're spending
Money. Okay, thank you for the comment. There's a motion, a second on the floor for approval of Nick and Tom. Kathy, roll call.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Terry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Nay.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Gatuso?
Aye.
Mr. Pulia?
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 8 on the active agenda, motion directing preparation of proposals for bids for street improvements. Motion is second by?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Nick, and who was the second?
Frank.
All right.
Frank, okay.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Just quite, this is coming out of the $1.5 million that we talked about in the previous meeting?
That's true. That is true, sir. Any discussion? Anything else? If not, there's a motion, a second on the floor. Roll call, please.
Mr. Terry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Gatuso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Nay.
Mr. Pulia?
Aye, motion carries. Item number 9, manager's report. Ms. Janet.
Okay, just a couple things I wanted to mention this evening. At the last meeting, we had authorized the private activity bonds for St. Joseph High School, and I just wanted to report, I did speak with Dave McCreary, president of St. Joe's, and wanted to let everybody know that by refinancing that mortgage, St. Joe's will realize approximately a $10,000 per month savings in their mortgage. And there are some other related savings where in certain months they will actually realize a savings of $30,000. They were able to reduce their original mortgage rate from 7.65 down to 3.5. So we're very happy that that they're able to save that much money, and will obviously go a long way towards keeping them operating and keeping all of our local students getting that fine education there. Second thing I want to bring up, as you know, we're in the process of getting our municipal aggregation plan running. I have heard from First Energy that the letters to residents will be coming out in the second half of July here. We did get an announcement from them saying that the ComEd residential rate was recently adjusted to 8.357 cents per kilowatt hour, and which was slightly less than the 8.5 that we reported earlier. So we're still recognizing probably at least a 46% savings on your current rate. They also wanted to alert you that as this process goes on, there are many companies who are approaching citizens, soliciting them to change their electric supplier. Some solicitors will even suggest that residents need to sign up with them to receive the village's aggregation rate. Please note this is not true. Residents do not need to do anything to be included in the aggregation. The only thing you need to do if you choose not to join the aggregation program is to complete that opt-out letter when you receive it later this month. So please be alert. If you talk to your neighbors, tell them anybody who is approaching them, telling them they have to do this, have them contact us. It's not true.
Janet, is it possible that we could get a, and I should have mentioned actually before, a sample letter that's going out from First Energy in-house, so if there's a question ahead of time, I know we fielded a couple, and you know, based on our knowledge of what other communities have received, we've been kind of using off, I've been using off that letter.
Sure.
For First Energy. I know the Village of Lombard had the same company, and I was reading chapter and verse off of that. So if we can get a sample letter, what's going out to our residents, maybe a little bit ahead of time. So if there is a question, we can read off that letter, and you know, and then when people get their actual letter, we'll be reading off the same sheet of music.
Sure. I do have a rough draft of a letter that was included in our plan.
There's an attachment to the contract itself, which has the opt-out language. The only thing I think was missing was the opt-out date, which hadn't been finalized when it was attached to the contract.
Right. So we can certainly make that available so that everybody can see it. And you also should note that if somebody has inadvertently signed up with one of these solicitors, that ComEd does allow for a 10-day rescission period. So if you hear that somebody has signed up, they can call ComEd and get that reversed within a 10-day period. Okay. Wait on that till we talk about the fest. I also wanted to announce that we have hired a new Public Works Director who will be starting Monday, July 16th. His name is David Stoicer. He's coming to us from the city of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and we're all looking forward to his arrival and working with him. And that would be it for now. I'll hold my other comments till we talk about the fest.
Okay. Attorney report. Michael, anything?
No, I just have one thing for the committee of the whole. I'll wait till then. Thank you.
Board members, EDC.
The only thing I have to report is we're going to have a night meeting, which hasn't happened in a long time, at least not as long as I've been on the board. Wow. Yeah, July 23rd at 7 o'clock. We're shooting for in here because the community room is busy. And at that time, we're going to try to discuss the UIC corridor plans. And we just got notification that Abe Lettner, who is the professor running that program, will be in attendance to answer any questions that we'll have. So everybody in the public's invited, since it will impact our town.
Great. Thank you. And I note that Ron Brown from the EDC, that the chair is also in the audience as well. Anything to share that Frank missed, Ron? Nothing. Okay. Green Committee, Wally.
Yes, we have the e-recycling this Saturday. I will go out and request that we need some help in Saturdays and moving forward. So if you know anybody, or if you're bored Saturday morning, come out and we can use your help. We also have a a table at the fest with the fire department. We're going to be giving out our reusable bags, and we have information from MWRD and I believe Waste Management there. Talk about things that they are doing for recycling or being green. In the parade, I'd like to special kudos to the members who walked. It was very hot. They kept up. We didn't lose anybody in the parade. And special thanks to Waste Management, who had one of their cars or their trucks that are operating on just, they call it COG. I can't think of the term, but it's natural gas. So thanks to them. They really enjoyed it. I think it was an excellent parade, and hope to see them again. Thanks. So that's about it.
Tommy, anything from Citizen Advisory?
Our next meeting is tomorrow night at 7, and then we will also be at the fest doing a survey during the day on Saturday and Sunday, so stop by, and if you will, and fill out the survey for us.
Paul, anything on special events other than the fest?
The parade went off very well. I'd like to thank Tommy Hawk and Hedgehog and Score Radio and all them for coming out. They did a great job for us. I think other than that, the event coming up is our Fun Fest, so let's get ready for that. And we still have wristbands for sale, guys. Let's get everybody out to get wristbands.
Yes, to date, we've sold 457 wristbands, 238 for Saturday and 219 for Sunday. So there are plenty available. We'll be selling them through the end of the day on Friday at Village Hall.
Mickey, anything for the order?
No, Greg, I don't know where Greg is. He was working on some dates for the next 911 meeting. There's going to be a number of items that are going to be on that agenda. So he's just trying to get some dates with the other members.
Great. Sooner the better.
Can I get one more thing?
Yes, Paulie.
I'd like to thank Nicole Luciano. She did a great job in helping me with the parade and getting the Score and Hedgehog and Tommy Hawk. So a little shout out to her and for all her hard work. So I'd like to thank her.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Brian, anything?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, my turn. First of all, it was a wonderful parade. Paul, thank you very much as the chair of the Special Events Committee. I know Greg and Molly did a lot of work behind the scenes here with Ann and certainly Janet to get stuff going. The carts we had were great. We decorated them all, and I think that we really put a good face on Westchester. We had the color guard up in front, and from our vantage point, we could see the citizens on the sidelines actually stand and salute the flag or put their hand over their heart as the flag and the colors of the United States of America went by, and that was very, very touching to see. We had about 60 entries, I'm told, and which is more than I think we've had in the past. We probably had 35 or 40 in that. And I know Doc Succi was at the corner of Mayfair and Dorchester with Bob and the, I'll say the cast of characters, making sure that the lineup and everybody went off without a hitch. I certainly want to say thank you to you guys in the Chamber of Commerce. You've always been a leader in the parade, and in fact, it's the Chamber of Commerce parade more so than in years past it was the Village Parade. The Chamber was doing a lot of that with Mr. Bruneisen and that. I did hear some great comments on the Karate Kids that were breaking boards and doing that. I thought that was pretty well. My son Joe enjoyed that thoroughly. The little people actually went out into the sidewalks and were interacting with people along the way, and I thought that was pretty nice as well. And I know my sister's a Calypso person, and she thoroughly enjoyed the Calypso person singing and banging on the things as well. So I think all in all it was a great parade. The Park District did a great job, certainly with the sponsor hot dogs and stuff like that at the end of the day. PW wonderful after our storm. Half of our American flags are were down. A lot of those on Mannheim Road are still tattered. But for the parade route, we regrouped and we put all new flags up where they needed it, made sure the curbs were painted, and they worked their tails off making the parade another successful year. Fest is going to be this weekend. PW's out there erecting all the fencing and the security, and I'm putting everybody on notice that it's going to be a wonderful fest. And number two, there's not going to be any shenanigans this year that we had last year. I know Chief Padlick and her staff has made all kinds of contingency plans. Certainly the NATO exercise that she was working on, as well with all of the regional police departments, is certainly training enough to handle our festival. You know, it's funny, I was looking in the paper yesterday and I saw that and I mentioned to Paulie and Nick earlier, that the Taste of Chicago has 40 food vendors. And I think this year we're hovering 15, 16 or whatever. And in years past, we've had up to 20. And if you look at the Taste of Chicago and the property that Chicago owns and the amount of people that go there to only have 40 vendors, and we have, in most cases, 20 is kudos. I had a conversation with Doc today and about the festival, and I was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, but we have probably 13 vendors from either live in the village of Westchester, or some have stores in the village of Westchester, or commerce. So it really is a Westchester fest, and it really is a Westchester supported, whether they have a store someplace else or they don't, or they're retired, and do some food vending, I guess, on the side to support Westchester. And I think that's what it's all about. This will be the 22nd year of the fest. Each year it's gotten progressively better, progressively bigger, and I think this is a chance that we'll have for the 22nd year to put on another good production. Everybody here is a volunteer, whether we're working the fest in the booths, whether we're working it on the sidelines, and I could tell you from being a vendor, you make very little money. In most cases, you make a little bit, but you break even with some of the costs. But hopefully it's the exposure and the camaraderie and the dealing with the like Lions clubs and the non-for-profits that are there exposing what Westchester has. Tammy Duckworth is coming. Janet and I were able to confirm that with her people yesterday. And I think what's being planned with Doc Sullivan, with Rocky Lynn and her, should be a great production of patriotic songs in that. I'm told there's pretty close to 60 Gold Star families that will be sharing a tent in front of the band shell there. And for those, Gold Star family means that they've lost a loved one in the service. And I'm sure it's a spattering of services. It's probably just not Afghanistan and Iraq, but I'm sure it could be World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, or any potential conflict where a loved one was lost in the service of the country while being in the military. So it's going to be a special night. We hope everything goes as planned. There is, for the board's edification, we just learned recently that there is a little skepticism with the fireworks, with the heat and the grounds, and that we're meeting with the owner of the cemetery tomorrow to see if we can work through some of those issues so we can have the fireworks as planned. But again, a number of places have canceled their fireworks because of the heat and the grassy areas that are susceptible to fire, and we're certainly going to hash that out tomorrow. But we really do want to have the fireworks, and we're going to do everything we can to make it as safe as it has been for the last 21 years, that it'll certainly be safe for the 22nd year with our stellar fire department and our ability to call on other fire departments as well to assist us. I welcome our new firefighter. He's into a great department under certainly the tutelage of our chief, Jim Adams. And again, lauding the police officers and the citizen, because that's what it's all about. I cannot reiterate that enough, that the citizens make our job. The police officers cannot be everywhere. In fact, they'll drive down the street and something will happen right behind them. The citizenry have always been the eyes and ears of the police department, and we certainly encourage the stand-upness for Mr. Blankenship, and we certainly laud him as well. So I know we're going to have a great festival, and we're moving right along. You all know we were out of power for, in some cases, a day and a half at the least. I know I was out till about 2 a.m. with the storm on that Sunday. I think everybody went out about 12:45 as we saw the skies turn green. We had certainly been in contact with Commonwealth Edison, and I have to report that I did relay my displeasure with them, and I'm following up as well that they didn't have anybody in our town until the wee hours of the next morning. Now, we do understand that the 14 circuits that we have, some come from other communities that may have been affected. It affected us. And, you know, those are some of the issues. But I did have a problem with ComEd not having anybody here during any of that time until the next morning. And I'm dealing with that as well, with their vice president and all of the people. We've had some meetings that I guess I could be tenacious at times. We're very tenacious, and we'll just leave it at that. On the call outside, our Public Works Department are still cleaning up from the storm. We had a number of trees fall on cars and do damage to them as well. We didn't have any injuries, which is first and foremost what we would like, but there was some damage. We contacted Senate Tree Service to get the high hangers and to assist us for a couple of days. We had their chipper out for a couple of days. We also rented another Bobcat to remove logs, and also rented a chipper. And I can tell you that each and every one of the Public Works people worked long and hard that day and until this day, even today, picking up and chipping branches, and there's still a lot more to go out as well. We get write-ups every day. However, as I've been riding through different communities that were hit as well, Addison, Villa Park, Lombard, and that, we have a lot better cleanup effort than they do, although I'm sure that they were inundated with a lot of issues as well. But we're getting through it. You know, the fest, we have people out at the fest that, you know, takes guys away from, you know, that cleanup effort, but we're on it, and hopefully we'll have it all picked up by this week. Our paving was affected, but today we put the guys out in the southeast, the Nixon area, to try to fill in those patches, and there's a few more that they have to do tomorrow. There's a couple of small ones that we have to get after, and then we're in the process of hitting Downing and Essex on the south side, and that should do all the 2,000 tons of asphalt that we've contracted for. So the guys are working very hard, and I'm very proud of each and every one of them. So that's all I have under President's Report. Wally, question, comment?
Actually, you know, we were talking about the parade, and we were thanking a lot of people, and I think we should also thank the citizens and the residents for being out there. It was very hot. They really supported the parade, so again, I thank them. And also I'd like to thank the chamber and all that for having a huge birthday party for my son Brian on the 14th. I really appreciate it this Saturday. So.
Well, again, yes. Again, we can't do anything without our citizens and the citizens' support of us. Is there any executive session this evening, sir? No? Oh, I'm sorry. Miss April, I forgot about you, dear. Any reports?
We're just gearing up for the fest, as you said. We were out there today inspecting for security purposes, but everything looks really good, and we're looking forward to a fun fest. And then the other thing is the department's been planning, as I've been saying along, for August 7th, our National Night Out on Crime. Again, I remind residents on that evening, starting at about 6:30, we're going to meet at Gladstone Park. We're going to march down Westchester Boulevard to the community park, which the Park District is graciously giving us a free hour swim, and there will be a band playing. And then we'll have a movie in the park with other activities, and we hope it's going to be a fun-filled family event with the village and our community and business and police.
There, and thank you for that. There was a question while you were out with the officers. A gentleman asked about our fireworks, and apparently there were some canisters left behind Divine Providence that had multiple shots out of them as well, and was wondering if we were in fact enforcing any of the fireworks rules. We certainly said that fireworks are illegal. I just didn't have any statistics of the number of firework calls we answered, and if there were any adverse contacts made as well.
Well, I'm proud to say that this year seems to be a lot quieter than in years gone by. Our firework calls were down. However, for July 3rd through the 5th, we responded to 26 firework calls. Many of those were officer-initiated calls, meaning they were on the scene, they were the complainant. For the last several years, I've had investigators in plain clothes on duty during the prime time for fireworks. As a result of our efforts, we confiscated over 42 pounds of fireworks. And I do note that there was a call received at Divine Providence on July 5th at about 8 o'clock in the morning about a complaint of debris. And one thing I'd like to point out is that we can't be everywhere at once, and oftentimes people that know that they're going to be partaking in illegal activity have access to our radio frequency, and sometimes know when we were dispatched to a call, so they scatter before we get there.
Well, thank you. Sir, did that answer any of your questions? Okay, great. Jimmy, anything?
No, we're just getting ready for the fest, and doesn't, knock on wood, I think it's going to be a nice balmy fest with no rain, and still stay hydrated. And with the summer months here, especially with the heat we've had, make sure check on your elderly neighbors and stay hydrated.
Thank you. Miss Ann.
Yes, the village's auditors finished their on-site work last week. Still a little bit for them to wrap up that they're able to do at their office with email communication. Also, the village received notice several months ago that our current primary banking institution no longer services government accounts, effective, coming up here soon. With that being said, the village will be producing an RFP for new banking services. We expect that to go out next week. So we will provide updates when we have a proposal for a new bank for our checking and several ancillary accounts.
Tony.
I'd like to say Goodwill is up and running and doing very, very well on 31st and Wolf. I went in there and looked around, and they do have some nice items in there. And the Papa John's, there was a little bit of delay with the corporate getting their equipment in, so that's not going to open up until August 1st instead of the end of this month. And permits are getting out on time.
Good. Well, thank you. And I know Nick talked to me a week or so ago about making sure that the businesses that are coming to town have something in their window telling the citizenry what's coming. And I see that Papa John's does have something up in front there now. Yeah. And if you followed up on that, I'd want to thank you as well for doing that. Great. Kathy, anything?
No,
Nothing?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. No executive session. Is there a motion, a second, to adjourn our board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Brian and Nikki. All those in favor of the adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Nay. We stand adjourned.